So if I add 1 to a half, I'd be adding 2 over 2. 1 over 2 plus 3 over 2, or I'm sorry, I said that wrong. 1 over 2 plus 2 over 2 is 3 over 2. And then if I have to divide by 3 over 2, that's the same as multiplying by 2/3. Okay, now notice I already had a 3 in the front. I'm going to cancel those out in a second. Okay, go to the next one, plus. Okay, I have to add 2 over 2 to 3 over 2. How many is that? X to the 5 over 2, and then to divide by 5 over 2, I have to multiply by 2/5. Now notice there was already a 10 in the front. Okay, so I'm going to reduce that as well before I plug my endpoints in. So for this first one, we said the 3's are going to cross out. They do. So I'm going to have a 2 left over in the front, and then x is now to the 3rd power and square rooted, plus. Then on my next one, remember for fractions, you times across the top and across the bottom. 10 times 2 on top is 20. Divided by 5, what's 20 divided by 5? That's a 4 left over. And then your x is to the power of 5 and then square rooted. And then from there, we're going to plug in our endpoints. So I'm going to find capital F of 9 first, capital F of 3 second. And then once I find those two guys, I'm going to subtract. Okay, let's do 9 first. So it's 2 square root 9. What's the square root of 9?
Wait, it's F of 4, not F of 3.
Oh, this is a 4. Thank you. Okay, so F of 9, I'd have 2 times the square root of 9. How much is that? 3. Then I'm going to cube it. What is 3 cubed? 2 times what? 27. Okay, plus 4. Then I'm going to have the square root of 9, which is how many? 3. And then I'm going to have to raise it to the 5th power, which I don't know what that is. What? You used a calculator. I was about to be so impressed. Okay, 243. Then that'd be 54 plus 4 times 243 comes out to be how much? I got 1026, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, on bottom, F of 4, we're plugging in. This one we shouldn't need a calculator to do. Okay, it'd be 2 square root 4 to the 3 plus 4 square root 4 to the 5. Square root of 4 is 2. What is 2 to the 3rd power? 2 times 8, which comes out to be 16 plus. Then the square root of 4 is 2. 2 to the 5th is what? So 5, 2. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times the 5th 2 is 32. Okay. And then I have 16 plus 128. Very good, 144. And then what do I do with those two guys? Subtract. So you'd have 1026 minus 144, which gives us 882. Okay? Make sense? Alright, we're going to look at a couple of special cases, and then we'll do a couple off your homework. Okay, next one, number 5. Okay, we are going to do the integral from 2 to 10 of 4 over x plus 2. We do have to rewrite it. Now, question is, if I decide to rewrite it like this, look. Okay, and I rewrite it as 4x to the what if it was on the bottom? Minus 1. Okay. If you try to rewrite it like this, what's going to happen when you do power rule?
Do 1 over 4x.
Yes. Okay, but think about power rule. If I add 1, I get 0. And then what am I supposed to do with 0? Divide. Not going to work. That's where you should remember this is a natural log. So you're not going to rewrite it like that. You're going to rewrite it like this. 4 1 over x plus 2. And the reason why is because what's the integral of 1 over x, we said? ln x. Very good. So it'd be 4 ln absolute value x plus, and then what's the integral of just the 2? 2x. Very good. Then from there you'd have to plug in 10, then you'd plug in 2. Now capital F of 10 would be 4 ln 10 plus 20. Okay, I'm going to write it like that. And then for my other one, plugging in 2, it'd be 4 ln 2 plus 4. Okay, so let's subtract those now. So I'd have 4 ln 10 plus 20 minus 4 ln 2 plus 4. Okay, I'm going to get it wrong, because why? Yep, so I need to put parentheses here. You're not just subtracting the ln, you're subtracting the plus 4 as well. So you need to make sure you put those parentheses or distribute it in your head and give them both a minus. Okay, now from here, I have 4 ln 10 minus 4 ln 2. And then what about the 20 and then minus the 4? Okay, that's going to be a 16 left over from these two guys. Okay, if this was a multiple choice, that answer would not be there, because logs have a bunch of crappy rules that you have to remember. So I'm going to give you the rule. You tell me what you should do. ln x minus ln y equals ln x over y. Now, if it was plus, you would multiply them. But if it's minus, you subtract. So instead of keeping it as ln 10 minus ln 2, it's ln of 10 divided by 2, which is ln of 5. So this is the same as 4 ln 5 plus 16. Now, if this was free response, this would have been fine. This would have even been fine. But if it's multiple choice, you want to remember all those rules. Okay? So one more time, what happened there is I took the 10 and the 2 and I divided them to get the 5. And then since they both had a 4, I just kind of left that in the front. Okay? Alright, we have one more left and then we'll look at your homework. So we're going to do the integral of 5 secant squared theta d theta. Okay? 5 secant squared theta d theta. And we're going to go from pi 6 to pi 4ths. Okay? So, first question, secant squared is one of the ones I would expect you to probably already have memorized. What, when I take the derivative, gives me secant squared? Tangent, very good. So I'm going to have 5 tan theta. And then I'm going to have to plug in pi 4ths and then pi 6. Okay, I'm going to do the pi 6th one for you because it's harder, and then you're going to do the pi 4ths. Okay, which really you should be able to do it, but just since Christmas happened, okay, I don't know what we remember. So remember that tan is sine over cosine. Pi 6 is this finger. Okay, so my sine would be 1 over 2 because it's your bottom fingers. So this is 5 times 1 over 2 divided by. And then what would cosine be for my top fingers? Root what? Root 3 over 2. Very good. But then nobody likes to have fractions divided like that, so you flip the bottom one and multiply. So this is the same as 5 times 1 over 2 times 2 over root 3. So remember, this bottom one, you're going to multiply by the reciprocal. Okay? And then we can see that our 2's are going to cross out, and we're just going to get 5 over root 3. Now, the AP test does not care if you leave radicals on the bottom. That is a thing, but they don't really care about it, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay? So now you do pi 4ths. Okay, think about it for a minute. Pi fourths is your middle finger. What's sine of pi fourths? Root 2 over 2. What's cosine of pi fourths? Root 2 over 2. And so if they're both root 2 over 2's, when I flip this bottom one, what's going to happen? Cancel out. Or think about it, if you divide a number by itself, you get 1. So this is just going to come out to be 5. Now, if you want to, if you want to see it worked out, it would look like this. Okay, you'd have 5 root 2 over 2 times 2 over root 2. And then basically just all the crap crosses out. These guys take each other out. These guys take each other out. And it's just a 5 left over. Okay? Then from there, your answer would be 5 minus 5 over root 3. Good? Okay, there is one more thing that we have to cover, but it's short, so we're going to do a little bit of your homework first. So take a look at your homework, please. I'd like for you to do number 1, 2, and 4. And I'm going to bring you a little motivational candy. Okay? 1, 2, and 4. And if you get those, I want you to try 6. Okay, yeah.
You should have been plugging in 2. What is 2 cubed? That's a 1/3 though, in fact, right?
Yeah.
So that should be 8/3, yeah. Fix that. Yep, sure. Come on down. Yep.
Okay, number 4 will require a rewrite when you get to it.
Yes.
Like a rock.
You did 1/3 x cubed. Yep, so that'd be 8/3. Because 2 cubed is 8.
Oh, but I don't have the one.
No, because when you do 8/3, you're minusing 1/3, so it's actually already set up as a combination. Ready, Kenny? Up. Sure. getting for number 1? 7/3 is good. Okay, number 2 is at 16. Oh, okay. Oh, I don't know what it is. Yeah. Yeah. Wednesdays when Ashley wants to see it. It was like pretty almost late for first period, but worth it, you know. Okay, so you can see number 1 checked up there was 7/3. Are we ready to check number 2 and see if you got it right? Okay, number 2, math 9. We want -1 to 3. 3x squared minus 2x minus 1 dx 16. Did you get it? No? We can do it. Do we need to do it? Okay. So your antiderivative is what? Okay, what's the number in the front of the x cubed though? So it's x to the 3, then I divide the 3 with the 3. It is a 1. Good.
You have to put a 1?
No, you don't have to. Okay? Then on your x, it'd be an x squared. And then I divide, now it's a -1, or just a minus is fine. And then the last one's a minus 1x. Okay, then you're going to plug in capital F of 3, capital F of -1. I'm going to do that down here just so that I have room on the other questions. Okay, then from there, F of 3 would be 3 cubed, which is 27, minus 3 squared is 9, then minus 3. So that'd be 27 minus 12, which is how much left over? Okay, 15 is the top one. Then the bottom one, -1 cubed is still a -1, minus a -1 squared, and then minus 1 -1. Now, for this one, what is -1 squared? Do these negatives cross out with each other? They can't, because -1 squared is really a positive 1. And then I'm minusing it. So I have -1, minus 1 more, and then this last one, they can cross out to be a +1. So then it's a -1 left over from the bottom end point. And then you do 15 minus -1, because remember I subtract, that's where the 16 comes from. Got it? Okay, have you all had time to finish number 4 yet? Okay. The answer should be a 15th. So if you didn't get that, try to find your mistake.
How would you rewrite it?
How would you rewrite it?
X to the negative 2?
Okay, x is to the -2. Can I move the 3 up or no? You have to keep it as a 2/3. Good. So you'll rewrite it as 2/3 stays where it's at, and then only the x moves up as a -2. Okay, now remember, that's your rewrite. So you still have to do the power rule after that. So when I add 1 to -2, do I get -3? -1. And then when I divide by -1, my 2/3 is now just a negative 2/3. Okay, now I'm going to rewrite that like this. 1 over x before I plug in. Okay, now you could leave it as an x to the -1, but remember that just means that there's an x to the 1 on the bottom. Okay, so then I'm going to plug in capital F of 10 and then capital F of 5. Okay, let's do capital F of 10 first. I'd have negative 2/3 times 1 over 10. Okay, multiply the tops together. Negative 2 over 30, because you times the tops, then times the bottoms. Which is really / negative 1 over 15. Okay, for the bottom one, we're plugging in 5. Huh? Yeah, but we could still do it. Okay, negative 2/3 times 1 over 5 gives me negative 2 over 15. And now the good news is that since those are both 15s, they're going to go together fine when I am subtracting. So it'll be the top one, negative 1 over 15, minus negative 2 over 15. And then that minus the negatives, which is 2a plus. So then really it's 1 over 15. Okay? Alright, let's see. Take a look at number 6, please. We're not going to do an example like that in your notes because we did it when we did derivatives. There's not a quotient rule for integrals. If there was one, we would have learned it. So how could I rewrite or simplify number 6 to make it not a fraction anymore? What'd you say?
Negative 1/2.
Okay, it is negative 1/2, but that still then looks, so you're saying like distribute it? That would work. The way that I would think about it is like this for your rewrite. I would do x over square root x, and then 2 over square root x. Okay, yep. And then from there, if I have an x on top, this is the same as an x to the half on bottom. What do I do with those powers? If it's an x over an x, you subtract. So it would be like this. You do x to the, what is 1 minus a half left over. And then for this one, I can just make it 2x to the minus a half. Because it doesn't have an x for me to subtract to, so I would just pull this up to be with the 2 on top. So remember that right here, to reduce, you have to subtract the exponents on the x's. Okay? Because some are on top and some are on bottom. Okay, now do your power rule on that. So you're going to add 1, then divide. Yeah.
So, to get the x to the 1/2, you just did, like, 1 minus 1.
Uh-huh. Yeah. You did the top whole x minus a half of an x. Just remember, x is on top and on bottom, can cancel out each. So when you add 1, what do you get for your new power? X to the what? 3/2, and then what do you do to divide by 3/2? Multiply by 2/3. On this one, if it's negative a half and you add 1, what do you get? Positive a half. Okay? So for my first one, it'll be x to the 3/2 with the 2/3. Because I have to divide by the new exponent. And then on this one, when I add 2/2, I get x to the 1/2. But if I'm going to divide by a half, that's the same as multiplying by 2. And there is already a 2 in the front, so now it's a what? 4. Then from there, you're plugging in 9 and 1. So capital F of 9 I'll put first. That'd be 2/3. 9 to the 3 square rooted minus 4 square root 9. Then remember the square root of 9 is 3. 3 cubed is 27. Divided by 3 is 9 times 2 is 18. And then square root of 9 here is a 3. 4 times 3 is minus 12. So my top one comes out to be a 6. then you do your bottom one. Okay, so it comes out to be 2/3 minus 4. Okay, then from here, I'm going to subtract the top and the bottom. So my answer would come out to be 6 minus 2/3 minus 4. Now, question, if it's, huh? 10 minus, okay, yeah, so I'm about to put the 6 and the 4 together. If it's 6 minus negative 6, what is that really? 6 minus negative 4 is really 6 plus 4. So that would be 10 minus 2/3. Now, if you needed to make that a single fraction, like for a multiple choice question, you would times the 10 by 3/3. And that would make it 30/3 minus 2/3 gives you how many thirds left over? 28/3. Okay.
Are we supposed to subtract those two? 28 thirds minus 6.
What?
Are we supposed to subtract that?
Yeah, so I did 6 minus negative 4. I put these two together to get the 10. So 6 minus negative 4 is really 10. And then I just had this subtract 2/3 left over. So then I turned my 10 into a 30/3 so that I could minus 2/3.
That's not what I asked here. Are we supposed to subtract 28 over 3 minus 6?
No, because the 6 was already up here. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
This is me putting them together in this step.
Okay.
Okay? All right, last one I want to make you do, and we'll finish our notes tomorrow. Graph number 9 for me. Just take a shot at it. See if we remember how to do the V's. Okay, it's a V shape. So think about y equals mx plus b. What does the 4 represent on the V? The y-intercept. So go to 4. And then what's your slope in front of the x? A minus 2. So that means when I do my V, I'm going to go down 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1. And then when I hit the x-axis, remember, it's a V. It's not allowed to be negative. So it's going to shoot back up on the other side. Up 2 over 1. Up 2 over 1. Like that. So remember that for your V's, once it hits the x-axis, it's going to turn around. Okay, that's your V shape. Now, the reason that you have to do a graph on this one is because you're not... Huh? What do you mean it's negative?
Minus 2.
Uh-huh.
It should be flipped down. Come on, Mitch.
Should it have gone this way? Oh, F.
Yeah.
Oh. Hold on. Your V should be like this. Oh, that would have been if it was a positive V. Sorry. I need to fix it in poor second period. Okay, that should be your V. Okay, now, sorry about that. Now, where should you be shading, though? From where to where? From 0 to 5. And notice that in your graph, part of your area is going to come out above, and part of it's going to come out below. So if I start shading at 0 here, when I hit, what is that it would hit at 2, then I'll have to start shading below until 5. So you'll have a little bit of a triangle on top, and then a larger triangle on bottom. Then when you find those areas, you're going to subtract the bottom one from the top one. Because remember, the areas can cross out with each other. So for this first triangle right here, it'd be 1/2. How long is the base, we said? 2. And then how tall is the height? 4. So really that just comes out to be 4. That's for your top triangle. And then for your bottom triangle, it would be 1/2. Your base is 3, 4, 5 is 3 units long. And then your height, we'd have to count it out. 2, 2, 2 would be -6. 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 Okay, and that'd be 18, cut in half is 9. So then it'd be 4 minus 9, which would be negative 5 overall. Okay? And then we will finish up tomorrow. You will not get a new homework though tomorrow. The homework that you have is, so look on the back, what we didn't cover is average value. So when you get to here, don't do those, because you don't know what that is yet. Can't believe I graphed my V upside down second period. I didn't even notice it.
Nobody called you out?
No. I even have like Jessica Ma in there. She should have had my back. Grant Moots. None of them. Gracia.
You have like the NHS like offices and
None of them even caught that I graphed it upside down.